Most people that come to me, their vitality is not the best. So we really focus on giving them the things they need to get that life force there. And then when they've got a bit of life force, then it's getting really clear on where they're going. And you can try to get that clarity at the beginning. You can get glimpses of the clarity. But I find that if we can just get a little bit of life force into people first, then their clarity can expand. Because my clarity of when I was so unwell was I just want to feel a little bit better. Welcome to Project Vitality. This is a little intro, a little teaser into who I am, the about me, so you can understand why you will continue listening to my podcast and why I get the guests that I get on my podcast and why I'm absolutely fascinated and intrigued by holistic health. And when I look at health, I believe entrepreneurship is part of being truly healthy because you're doing what your heart truly desires, and you're learning and shifting outside the mold of society. Regenerative farming is in there as well because we really are what we eat. And my major experience of getting healthy, which I'll talk about in a second, actually stemmed from starting to eat real food. And then the overall holistic viewpoint and understanding healers is just, and because I've been to so many different healers and modalities along the way to get me back to where I am, I'm just truly fascinated by it. So I'll tell you a little bit about me. So my name is Nicholas Fairbairn. I am a Czech practitioner. So I'm a holistic health practitioner who has studied with the Czech Institute for quite some time now. I'm also a doTERRA Diamond leader. So I've got a very successful doTERRA essential oil business. And my newest adventure is I'm actually a goat farmer. So I am co-owner of Noosa Goat Co. And that is breeding a very specific breed. They're called Nigerian dwarf goats, which is, easiest way to explain it, is the best combination of a milking goat and a miniature goat. Because miniature goats are actually meat goats. They're not actual milking goats. And dairy goats are actually quite tall. So the breeding has combined to make the perfect goat, in my opinion. And so that's why I breed them. They have the most incredible amount of butter fat, 3 times as much as a normal goat. And what that actually means is that the milk is way creamier and more delicious, because some people are put off by a goat's milk because it can be a little bit more astringent than what they're used to, which is cow's milk. So I'm super fascinated by raw milk and regenerative farming and really learning that along the way. And so a little bit of a background story, I actually grew up in Cronulla, God's country, which Cronulla is it's the southern beaches of Sydney, Australia. And I had a really good childhood. I'm not going to lie. I'm very, very blessed. I had a great mum. She was a single mum. So I grew up without the presence of my dad, and I'll talk a little bit about that as well. But I had a really, really close family, lots of cousins, and we would always spend a lot of time together, birthdays, Christmases. And because there were so many cousins, it was quite regular that we caught up. We'd go on holidays together as well. And then my friendship circle in Cronulla was really good. I went to a very small primary school. I think it was about 100 people, maybe a little bit less. And my high school only had a few hundred people as well. And so I was really quite blessed. Lots of surfing, lots of camping trips, lots of road trips. And yeah, life was pretty good. I did grow up in a Department of Housing unit in Cronulla. So finances was always something that was a bit of a struggle. I really realize now, watching Mum, how much she sacrificed for me, because she had to be my mum and my dad, which also meant that I didn't actually get a mum because she had to be both. So I never fully got her. Although saying that, we have an incredible relationship. Many, many people envy our relationship that we have. We've always been 100% open and honest with each other, and we'll call each other on our BS as well. So that's been pretty awesome having a mum like that. And so everything was pretty good in life. When I was in my teenage years, we had quite a lot of death in our family. a couple of uncles, my pop. Well, my nan died quite a bit earlier, but I pop, my uncle, a couple of cousins as well, aunties, quite a big amount of death in such a short period of time. And some of them were quite traumatic deaths, accidents. And so that was also quite tough. Now, it took a much bigger toll on my mum than me, but in my adult years, I realized how much I'd kind of suppressed those emotions and worry about, my mum and the family and life in general. And so that was very interesting. One of the greatest things that's ever happened to me is building a doTERRA business. I absolutely love helping people get their health back. It's something that's close to my heart because it's also something that I've personally been through. When you don't have the vitality, clarity, or confidence to live your life, everything around you starts to close in. I've created a package to help you focus on the process that I teach. Head on over to thathealthdude.com/doTERRA, or if you have any further questions, reach out to me on any of my socials. I have customers all over the world. I can get oils to your front door within 7 days. On a side note, if you're wanting to build a business, I'm always looking for other partners who are aligned with my values. So please reach out to me. In my adult years, I traveled a lot. I've been in the infantry, army reserves. I've worked down in the Perisher ski resort. As I said, I've traveled. I worked for the pub crawls and club crawls in Surfers Paradise and Las Vegas, and really had quite a free life. I've traveled a lot. I think it was over 20 countries before I was 25, and it's a lot more now. And yeah, life was really quite good. I had a lot of freedom. And in my mid-20s, I actually got really sick. I got glandular fever, I got pneumonia. That led to depression, that led to anxiety and stress. And it was being someone with such an enthusiastic heart and mind and soul for life, but feeling like I had the body of a 90-year-old, feeling like I've had the body of someone that was dying, which is a truth. I was dying. And that was really quite a challenging experience for me. It made me realize, like right now, it's the best thing that ever happened to me because I was on a very destructive path. I was drinking, if not every day, every second day, partying, just working, just chasing money, chasing women, being around toxic people. It was not the best environment. Maybe great for a short stint, but it was my whole life. And I was really stuck in this bubble. And I was leading what I now know to be a hedonistic lifestyle. And when I was really craving something more, but I didn't know it existed. I was just living a life where I did whatever I want, whenever I wanted. If I wanted more money, easy, I'll go get it. Women, they were everywhere. The travel, I could do that whenever I wanted. I literally lived the life of a rock star. But somewhere deep in my soul, I actually wanted something more, and I didn't know. I just knew that I was unhappy. And that unhappiness led me to be really, really sick and, going down that path of illness to the point that I really should have been in hospital and I thought I was dying. So one experience I had, I was coughing so much and I was so sick at my mum's house once that I actually fell onto the bathroom floor because I couldn't get enough oxygen into my lungs. And I remember lying on the bathroom floor and mum kind of heard me kind of fall. And she's like, heard the noise, and she's like, "Are you all right?" And she's on the other side of the bathroom door. And I'm like, yeah. And lying on the floor. And because I didn't want to worry mum that I was dying. So that led me to really start to turn my life around. And one morning, I literally just couldn't get out of bed. And luckily enough, I had a really good friend who had seen a holistic health practitioner, Czech practitioner, which is what I am today. And I had gone down the modern medicine route, go to the doctor, get some antibiotics, go back, get more antibiotics, go back, get more antibiotics. They never asked about my lifestyle, my diet, my sleep patterns, my stress patterns, my relationships, none of that. Just give me more drugs. And so I was so desperate that I actually was fine to try something and invest in myself and really actually show myself that I was worth it. Like I had money, but I wasn't happy. So why not invest in somebody and take a bit of a risk? And it's the best risk I ever took. hence why I'm a Czechie today. And I realized from the first moment I saw him that what I thought was health was actually not health at all. And so he gave me some changes to make, and I started doing those changes, and I started feeling better in myself and feeling more vitality and life force. And then I could make even more changes. And the things that I had quite a few changes, but I was still stuck in some areas. My immune system still wasn't the best, and my depression, anxiety, and stress I wasn't coping quite so well with them. And that's when doTERRA came into my life, and I started using the oils and the doTERRA products. And again, that kind of boosted me to that next level. And it was really interesting. People started seeing me get healthier and started asking questions. Now, the plus side is because I'd been in direct sales for such a long time, I wasn't worried about selling products. So people were like, oh, what's this? And I was like, this is what I use, and it worked. And so then something kind of switched in me, because I was still in the pub crawls, but I was trying to be healthy. So I would be going out on a Saturday night drinking and then going to the organic farmers markets on a Sunday to try to be healthy. Now, the reason this is because my entire friend circle was in the club crawl. That's all I knew. And so even though I wanted to change, I didn't really have that life force, courage, bravery to fully step out of it. And that took years of a process, because as well, that was the way I made my money, and it was pretty easy money. So to shift and completely change my whole lifestyle was very challenging. And doTERRA was actually a path for me to get out, because I could see, I looked at the compensation plan and did my research, and I was like, holy shit, this is a global business. I'm good at sales. I actually am passionate about this. I reckon I'll do really well at it. And I have. And so that was, I guess, being courageous. And that led me to then not needing the income of the club crawls anymore. And obviously it took time for my business to be that. And then I studied to be a Czech practitioner and started to get some clients as well and run boot camps and all this type of stuff, because I actually was already a qualified personal trainer from when I was younger. I just hadn't done it for such a long time. And I started learning and really molding to who I am today. And so the 3 areas that I focus on with people are vitality, clarity, because you need to have clarity in who you are. You also need to have that kind of purpose, but you also need the confidence. And so confidence was something I struggled with as well. Lighthouse is my 12-month one-on-one program. I take on a handful of new clients each year. You may have mastered money, but how's your health? How are your relationships? How is your fulfillment in life? I have a theory, one that I've personally lived. Our deepest joy comes from being of service to humanity, and without it, we feel empty. You may be at that point of emptiness now, so let's get your vitality, clarity, and confidence back. Yeah, you may have weathered many a storm, but a lighthouse is resilient, and it's time to step into that role of being that beacon of hope humanity needs, the one that deep down you know you are destined for. Head on over to thathealthdude.com/lighthouse. Let's get it done. So the reason I start with vitality is because energy is needed for change, a lot of energy. So people can have the ideas to change, but if you don't have that life force to actually change, then you can't change. And so most people that come to me, their vitality is not the best. So we really focus on giving them the things they need to get that life force there. And then when they've got a bit of life force, then it's getting really clear on where they're going. And you can try to get that clarity at the beginning. You can get glimpses of the clarity. But I find that if we can just get a little bit of life force into people first, then their clarity can expand. Because my clarity of when I was so unwell was I just want to feel a little bit better. I don't want to feel depressed every day. I don't want to feel exhausted every single bloody day. And to then, if I was to try to get clarity that one day I'm going to be a Czech practitioner and I'm going to speak on stages all over the world and I'm going to have this doTERRA empire and I'm going to start a goat business and do raw milk and do a podcast, that was nowhere even near that small glimpse of clarity So I needed a bit of life force first, and then confidence. So I was pretty confident, but then some things just kind of shock you a little bit and shock your system and create a little bit of trauma. So through mine, it was the illness. So I was not confident in my body. I didn't really trust and believe in my body anymore. Then I had a few relationship breakdowns along the way as well. So when you have to start afresh and financially start afresh as well, your confidence can get shattered because as society builds us up to who we are. But if that career or that house or that relationship, your health, they all start to crumble, getting that confidence back is something that I personally really struggle with. So I'm actually very empathetic with people that lack confidence. And so once you ground yourself back in confidence in your body, then you can bloody achieve anything. You're unstoppable, you're unshakable, and yeah, you're a force to be reckoned with. So that's kind of a little bit about who I am and what led me to running a podcast. And the main reason I wanted to run a podcast is over these years, I've met some bloody incredible people, skilled and just brilliant and geniuses and embodied in what they do. And a lot of people may not have been introduced into this world. And so I wanted to share the people that have helped me along regaining my health, people that have inspired me, people that I've worked with, people that I've been mentored from and been around, because one of my grounding philosophies and what I teach, which I'll get to in the next part, is lighthouse. It's like we are the lighthouse. We are the hope for humanity moving forward. And we have to be able to weather the storms like many of us have. And we have to be able to shine bright. And many people have had their lights dimmed a little. And so my dream and goal is to help people to actually be who they were destined to be. And so this podcast is a place for people to start. It's a free resource. And then if people want to come along the journey with me, they can either get some oils to get there and some doTERRA products to get their vitality back, or they can come into my one-on-one coaching or work with me more directly. And so that's it. This podcast is going to be a lot of fun. I hope you enjoy it and come along with me as I make mistakes and just wing it in certain areas and really just try my best and give it a go as an Aussie podcaster. And I've got some bloody great guests that I have lined up. So just stay tuned and keep following. And I'll talk to you all on the next one.